Shealafiani, an abundant, blessed, full moon. How's your buffet table? Got enough plates? As weaves the web, the clan mother of the 10th lunation reminds us not to tangle our creativity with lies that alter our potential for living. This is where I was studying last night because, coming out of that setting sun, clan mother of September, and I had almost forgotten. I don't know why I did with all the spider webs. I kept noticing like all these amazing spider webs all over my front porch and my back porch and my gazebo. And so I should have got it right away. That weaves the web is the clan mother of the 10th lunation. And this piece, I'm going to say again slowly. It's kind of why we're doing the reading or the outline out here while talking to you. If you see me squinting through my glasses, it's because I've learned that I cannot wing it with spirit. I'll step into it, and then the energy gets so big that I tell you a lot of good things, but I leave the small details out. And right here where we are, I promise you on the first day of October, every little detail counts for all of us. This month, we just got to cross our T's and dot our I's and make it to the next full moon on the last day of this month. But we'll talk about that in just a bit. So this quote, recommendation, medicine from this particular clan mother reminds us not to tangle our creativity with lies that alter the potential for living. Such an awesome thought. It just is good to meditate on that. So you have to admit that in the fullness of all these swirls of energy that are moving in our midst and in the earth and in the sky, as above, so below, whether you follow the astrology reports or you follow the news headlines, we have to really harness ourselves, and strap in. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, because this right here is some good medicine to chew on. And so we watch it play out. Maybe that's a choice. That's a choice. You may say, well, I don't know how to, I'm not even sure what I'm in the possibility of creating. But this going within place is that time. It's where we've taken all the medicine through the spring and the summer of this year of 2020. Is that not full? I'll say again. How's your buffet table? Do you have enough plates? Because most of us are getting a lot of download information, crashing into the things that are moving around us at an accelerated rate in Earth School. And so this is what we call here the rumble tumble of evolution, the deep dive. And so, yes, we will tell you that there's a reason why both Tracy and I keep rotating Steve Judd, who is just faithful and over there in Britain. And you might think it's all the way over here in America, but I did sit with his third video so far, and it's everywhere. So that right there is some really good medicine to chew on, think on, or meditate on. Or there's another choice, and that choice is that we can watch it play out. If we don't feel sufficient to the task to even begin to look deeper into our dance of creativity, or to the lies that we are telling ourselves or other people are telling us about ourselves, all that is involved in really chewing on. That is good medicine. And so here's a really good tip as we go into this deep dive of October and the rumble tumble of evolution. There are many of us around here, around us, in our families, in our communities, that are still standing in line at Space Mountain. And if you've never been to Disney World, my first time at Space Mountain, being an older person now who did a lot of roller coasters coming up as a child, like a lot. It was my thing to do if I went to a fair or to an amusement park. And so the idea of stepping in through a door into a roller coaster that is inside, that has no lights, Sure, it was intriguing. I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't do it today, but that's what it's like for a lot of people who are going into October, and they do have to have their roller coaster seat belts buckled. You know, they did because the race of the heart, the adrenaline that gets going as we go up and down and round and twisting and curving, and like more revelations coming out. And I'm telling you this based on astrology, based on where Oya or Pluto is, and where, when it's moving into Scorpio, and the signs of these secrets. And just bottom line, sweetheart, lots of things are going to get exposed right here. And what I'm saying to you in a nutshell is that many of the people around us will just have it hit them in a way like, oh my God, what should we do with that information after the pandemic and the race wars and where we have been already in the first 9 months of this year? It's like, but it's the way that we look at it. You remember old people would tell you, well, it's whether you see the glass half empty or half full. So while some of these revelations that are coming in the month of October hit us with a slam or a bam or just knock us off guard, and it's not so much what is being told to us or what is being exposed to us, although it is. If you haven't dismantled your triggers and you're angry about the lies you have been told, just generally speaking, you're going to have to work on that. But mostly it means, what does this mean for me, for my truth? What do I need to, what is that creativity that we don't allow deception or the lies to influence the potential of our living, of the quality of life? And you have to ask yourself, you have to just stop, take a breath, have a cup of coffee, whatever it is, and say, okay, how do I want to end up this year? How do I want to end up this year of 2020 before you could even get to what you're looking forward to in 2021? And so I'm sort of jump ahead and mix a couple of things in while I'm thinking about it, because the pertinent thing is, you know, what comes after I tell you all this good information about what you should be doing between here and the end of the year. Green Song is coming up with an amazing 8-week journey with many amazing teachers and musicians and presenters. And Season of the Raven's going to be around on the last 6 weeks of the year. And so there are a lot of places that you can tap into for community, for support, for others that are linking up, because we do have to look ahead, our beloveds. And I know I say this somewhere here in the latter part of this, is that we do have to look ahead, because the energy that it takes work. It takes work. We're not going to rebuild from where we end up at the bottom of the bottom fell out in our country or in our own life or in our truth, without knowing that it's definitely going to take not only us, but as Tracy brought to me, our allies. And I do know that a good portion of what we have learned along the way in 2020 is that it's almost impossible to give to another that which we are not in possession of ourselves. And the world needs all of that right now. It needs our love. It needs our compassion, our empathy. It needs light. It needs hope where there is none, where people have thrown in the towel and given up. And so how filled are we with all that good stuff to be able to give some of it out, not get drained, not get overwhelmed, or, you know, kicked pretty bad and find ourselves like trying to pick ourselves up and shake off the darkness. We know because, you know, a few people call us on a daily basis, and that's where they are. And so a lot has come up, we'll just say to you in these recent days, about anchors and whether people are anchored to do the work of this destiny. And it is important, because where we land when we push the lies and the deceptions and the other people's stuff or the headlines or whatever it is out the way, we recognize that where we were codependent a minute ago, looking for someone else, the savior or whoever, the leader, We're gone. That ship has sailed. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are no longer looking outside ourselves for the leaders. And so we have to just like clutch onto this. What is my internal work? I said earlier, if we've done our work all this year and the way that all these kind of bombs have dropped around us and hit us has led us deeper into our own personal deep dive to do some real good inner tracking in harnessing our truth, finding out what are the tools and the medicines we really are in possession of. Because I'll tell you what, whether you watch Steve Judd or not, I believe him. He said, in the next 32 days, the world as we know it will be completely different. Well, you got to ask yourself, what could do that? What could do that? I could think of a couple of things right off, okay? And as soon as they hit my mind, like a Yellowstone, which can rearrange 3 to 4 states in this country and leave a lot of refugees, just like those wildfires in California could not only kill a few people, overwork a bunch of firefighters, but it rearranges the way some people are doing life. So you have to wonder. You say, well, it's kind of like, did I get the September surprise about Trump's income tax? No. I mean, so who really thought that this man paid taxes every year? Really? Why would you think that? Out of all the businesses that have closed and gone bankrupt. So you analyze and you get to that truth. This is how we get to that candor where we are sitting with ourselves and chewing upon it, meditating upon, I really got to move some of the lies out of the way. Because through the cracks or the darkness, this is how the light gets in Lighthouse. This is how we make space for a bigger, broader truth to come in. And so, we've got time. There's still time. That's the thing, don't be rushed. We're going in. This is that gentle southwest place, really almost there at west. We've already passed the fall equinox, the going within place, the place where you say, well, how will I come out next spring? How will I come out next spring? Definitely this is larger than your New Year's resolutions. This has to do with the last residuals of those parts of ourselves that are ready to compost. They no longer serve us. Be that our truth or things that no longer serve us. Deception, addictions, procrastination. I'm pulling from my own life and can say, okay, gotta move from that. Because I am looking forward to the spring where I can't even feel what that will be like. But I do know it's coming. I do know that America's ship has hit the iceberg and it is going down. I'm clear. It doesn't even matter how it happens or what by means it happens. By January, we will have hope going forward. We will have a way to say, right, so it is a mess. It's a hot mess. But we, the ones that we've been waiting for, have to build back better. And that you might just think it's a Biden-Harris slogan, but it's not. Because build back better, particularly for a person of color, moving into BIPOC arenas that have not been up to this point, not from civil rights and not from previous history, but is coming now, is the hope of my grandchildren and their children and their children. I want to come to that garden in the spring, really with good fertilizer and remembering being just connected to watering that and tending that and pulling the weeds that might even choke those possibilities. I want to pull those weeds up out. So it means that I have to take into my wintertime, the place that we're going now, my best creativity and my best truths, right? That's what it means. There's no doubt about it. This is the way that we tend and nurture and nourish our divine purpose in the world. Why we are really here, okay? And 200,000 plus have checked out. including the notorious RBG and Black Panther and John Lewis. I mean, look at the people who checked out and said, I'm good, mission complete. I'm going to go on to the other side now where I can do a little more for you that are smart enough to light a candle to the energy of the ancestors who went to the other side at this particular season, because that was their best vantage point. The things that needed to flip over and turn over in this evolution and transition of our world, they wouldn't have been able to accomplish it. Their earthly bodies, look at RBG, just would have gotten in the way. I know a chief like that, my dear, dear, dear friend. And that's what he said after he left. And I was like distraught to be going into Oyotunji for the 50th era. I couldn't understand how I was going, and a chief that I expected to share and smile and just congratulate each other that we actually got there, said, no, I got to go to heaven. This body, this physical temple cannot go the distance. And what has to be done in the way in which those of you who are left in the earth, whose mission it is to do this now, you need us to be spiritually strong where we were physically weak. So I will invite you in closing so that we're not on here all day. There are a couple of things coming up. Number one, we told you about the Green Song and Season of the Raven, and it is going to incorporate a good bit of some of the curriculum from the fall quarter of Mystic School of Alchemy. And so next time you see us here on the video, we'll be sharing parts of that. I am on my way into Oyotunji, which is so exciting for me. Just so exciting because 50 years, and even though we're in our 6th decade of living, 50 years from the edge of Negroes in this country moving into being Black and proud, or finding out who they were and no longer being brutalized by Tarzan, or you have no idea because you didn't live in that time of what it is that could have been said to us and was said to many of us. And so there's just, it doesn't matter that it's a pandemic. It doesn't matter that there'll be less people, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that all of us dreamed of when we came to King's Day in 2020. We know what it means, and we know what it took to get there. And it really is like that saying, which is a really good saying I love from the Dalai Lama, that says success is measured by what you had to give up to get it. And so pictures, maybe a couple of live reports, we certainly will share with you. It's beyond happiness. We don't have a word for that feeling of being in my father's town 50 years later. For me personally, and I might be one of the few living that could say that, is that my memories of my godfather go beyond even this town that is celebrating its founding in 1970, because I actually met my godfather probably the end of 68 or right around 69, just as we had moved from New York to the South at the height of integration after riots in the street and the Kennedys and King were dead. And a lot was going on. Again, a time in the late 60s, not unlike the time we're in right now, but kind of, sort of. And so pray with us, light a candle next week. Remember that I believe it's October 4th is our Godfather's birthday. So we'll be in dressing up and painting and preparing and pulling out all the white flowers and just sitting with Oyotunji and being in that celebration of 5 decades of cultural restoration, and praying so very much that when we are on the other side and our Egungun is paraded down the street, that our children and their children will still have the benefit of something that is truly authentically in them. In case they never get that plane ticket to Africa, they will at least have Oyotunji. All right, you all be well. The thing is, stay woke, keep your eyes open. This is October, and it's going to be a humdinger, as we used to say. It's going to be a humdinger. And you might say, after everything we've been through in the first 9 months, well, what else could come? That's why the old people told you, be careful what you ask for. And so, but it is going to get us where we're going. It's going to finish it up. And that's what you got to love about it. No matter how bad a 9-year is, if it finishes everything up and doesn't leave any loose ends or unfinished business, it's better for the new beginning. And so that's what we have to bear in mind as we close out, begin to move toward closing out 2020 and pushing some hope and some bright sunshine and better days toward 2021. So we're here, Classroom Collective. You go over to Kindred of Sangoma YouTube channel. It's got playlists now, and you should like and subscribe, and we won't leave away without telling you, check out roadmaps for bridge building, because I'm inspired by it. It's just sometimes the spirit and my aunties and my grandmothers speak through me in such a way to say, listen, girl, sit down, just be quiet and listen what we're telling you. And so I hope that you'll check that out. All right, be well, enjoy your full moon, and we'll see you probably somewhere around the dark moon, I believe, in the Grandmother Council on Web of Love. So till then, peace be with you.